Asylum seekers line up to enter Olympic Stadium Friday, August 4, 2017 near Montreal, Quebec. Paul Chiasson, Canadian Press Ottawa. The number of illegal border crossings is up significantly this year, compared with the same period last year, so federal and law enforcement officials have been preparing for possibility of another spike as the weather warms up. Departmental, RCMP and border officials provided a technical briefing this week on the plans they have developed as a result of lessons learned from pressures and concerns arising from last year's spike in irregular migrants coming across the Canada-US border. Here's what was learned. 1. The numbers are trending upward. Last year, RCMP intercepted a total of 20,493 people who crossed the border illegally. That means they did not present at an official port of entry and instead came across the border through unofficial paths to make a refugee claim in Canada. So far this year, 6,373 irregular migrants have arrived in Canada this way. That's an increase of 128% over the number who arrived in Canada between January and April 2017, which was 2,784.2. Quebec is the hotspot. Of the 6,373 border crossers that have arrived so far in 2018, the majority, 5,609, have done so in Quebec. However, about 40% say they are planning to settle elsewhere in Canada, mainly in Ontario. That's why Quebec and the federal government are working on a plan to try to encourage asylum seekers away from highly saturated areas like Montreal and Toronto, in the hopes they might instead settle in outlying regions of the two provinces where labor shortages exist and migrants could find more employment opportunities. Point 3. Housing remains a question mark. Quebec has told the feds it will only open 4 temporary shelters for refugee claimants this year, with a total of 1,850 spaces. The province says it will not open Olympic Stadium or the 9 other temporary shelters it operated last year for migrants because these were spaces not intended for accommodations, such as school gymnasiums. That's why Ottawa is now working with Quebec and Ontario on processes that could be used to triage asylum seekers from the unofficial entry point and local to other shelters in those provinces. Point 4. Countries of origin are shifting. Last year, the majority of irregular migrants who arrived in Canada were Haitian, which is largely attributed to the Trump administration's decision to lift the temporary protected status for immigrants from Haiti living in the U.S. This year, the majority of illegal migrants in Canada are Nigerians, with U.S. travel visas. Other countries of origin this year include Colombia, the United States and Pakistan. Point 5. Lessons have been learned. After last summer's unexpected influx caused some major headaches, a national strategic plan has been put in place to respond to any future spikes. It was described by a senior official as collaborative, flexible, scalable and phased. It allows for increased resources to be brought into an area quickly, as needed. It is designed to move asylum seekers through the system in a timely manner while also ensuring all of Canada's rules for refugee claimants are properly followed. That being said, Ottawa continues to try to get the message out that entering Canada between ports of entry is not a free ticket into Canada.